Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Dragonmaid Yugioh deck profile for May 2021. I've been wanting to update the Dragonmaids ever since Eternity Code came out, but they really shot up in price again, especially Chamber Dragonmaid being a big part of Dragon decks just for her overall power. But with this new support, I was able to pick up a good amount of the cards, actually the entire deck, in a recent trade. So very, very happy with the results. I've wanted this deck again for a good while. I've actually come across it twice in my findings, so glad to finally have it again to play. But once again, it's a really awesome deck where the Dragon Maids transform into their dragon forms, and then having also a bunch of different fusion plays with the extra deck. I'm curious if we'll ever maybe get some other plays we can do with the deck, maybe some synchros. I guess we'll just have to wait and see later on down the road. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Dragonmaid monsters, I run 3 Chamber Dragonmaid. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dragonmaid spell or trap from your deck to your hand. At the start of battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do special summon 1 level 7 or higher Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard, you can only use each effect of Chamber Dragonmaid once per turn. So the special summon of your bigger dragon monsters is one of the main plays of the deck. Having a bunch of different ones in the deck to use gives you a bunch of different options, especially when it says from the hand or graveyard. So being able to set some of those up in the graveyard is a big plus for sure. Just being able to go into those monsters, being more of the powerhouses in the deck. And this card also being able to search out spell or traps gives us access to plenty of the good spells and good traps we run for all of this setup as well. For some of the other Dragonmaids, still running the 3 Kitchen Dragonmaid. This card, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dragonmaid monster from your deck to your hand, except for Kitchen Dragonmaid. And then you can send 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand to the graveyard. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to the hand to special summon a Dragonmaid monster, a level 8 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. You will use each effect of Kitchen Dragonmaid once per turn. So with this, you have the level 7 option covered by Chamber Dragonmaid and the spell and trap card search, and then Kitchen Dragonmaid covers the monsters. So that's why they're both 3 ofs in the deck. Just having all that search power in these cards gives you perfect normal or special summon options to search out the specific cards you need for your plays, whether it be one of the dragons for Kitchen Dragonmaid, then being able to set it up in the graveyard as the special summon target, or like I said, the spell or traps with Chamber Dragonmaid. I might have said Chamber with Kitchen, but this is Kitchen Dragonmaid, obviously. And then the last of the 3 ofs for the Dragonmaids. I feel like I'm going to say Dragonmaids a lot during this video, but if this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard, except for Parlor Dragonmaid. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to the hand. If you do special summon 1 level 8 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard, you can only use this effect of Parlor Dragonmaid once per turn. So the send option basically is just meant to set up the bigger dragons in the graveyard for you to summon out. This is just great for that setup, and then being able to special summon all these different options with Parlor Dragonmaid. It's just that setup that I was speaking of. The graveyard will act as a second special summon option for your Dragonmaids. So 3 Parlor just gives you another good normal or special summon option, relying on this and Kitchen and Parlor. With some of the lower numbers for the Dragonmaids, I also run 2 Nurse Dragonmaid. When it's normal or special summon, you can target 1 level 4 lower Dragonmaid monster in your graveyard, except for Nurse Dragonmaid, special summon it. At the start of battle phase, you can return this card to the hand. If you do special summon 1 level 7 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard, you can only use this effect of Nurse Dragonmaid once per turn. So having the option to get another Dragonmaid monster, and once again, they specify, normal or special summon. So if you summon Nurse Dragonmaid and special summon Chamber Dragonmaid onto the field, you can then activate Chamber Dragonmaid search power. I only run 2 of this card. You have to have this set up already for this card to benefit from the graveyard, but still great when you can do that play overall. I also run 1 Laundry Dragonmaid. It's just a tech of mine that I'm trying. When it's normal or special summon, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And at the start of the battle phase, being able to summon a level 7 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. It can potentially mill a Dragonmaid monster. It's just another option to use. If you didn't want to run Laundry, you can always try putting in a 3rd Nurse Dragonmaid instead of this card, but it's player preference at that point also. For some of the dragons that we run in the deck, I run 2 Dragonmaid Ernest, with all of these cards basically being a play on words to the cards they mirror, with this one being for Nurse. It cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a fusion monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Dragonmaid Ernest once per turn. Quick effect, you can discard this card to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand. So being able to then just have access to all the different human forms of the Dragonmaids gives you an easy special summon off of Ernest when it's in your hand. At the start of the battle phase, you can return return this card to the hand if you do special summon one level 2 Dragonmaid monster from your hand. So basically transforming back into Nurse Dragonmaid with Ernest, but Ernest is also a level 7 Dragonmaid, being another target for your Chamber Dragonmaid, this one focusing on level 7 plays. And for some of the level 8 options, I also run one Dragonmaid Lorpar and Dragonmaid Tinkek, I believe is how you pronounce that one, but both play on words for parlor and kitchen. Also with the discard to target Dragonmaid in basically giving it 2,000 attack, and also with your Lorpar, being able to discard this target phase one monster on both players' fields, and they cannot activate their effects. So they both specify off of different cards with these cards, but being able to set them up in the graveyard just makes it that much easier to special summon the particular one you want with each Dragonmaid on the field. And then lastly, for the Dragonmaid Dragons, I run one New Jarl, I believe is how you play on words with laundry. But this one, you can discard this card to target monster in either graveyard and shuffle it into the deck. So it's a good way to just get rid of some resources your opponent may have, being another level 7 target for cards like Chamber Dragonmaid as well. So for some of the other staple dragon support, I run one Tempest Dragon, Ruler of Storms, and one Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. The special summon options come in handy with Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and the same with Tempest, just giving us extra deck resources and then just additional monsters on the field to use, because some of the fusion requirements for our Dragonmaids rely on just having a dragon monster for House Dragonmaid, and then just needing a level 5 or higher dragon monster for Dragonmaid Yugioh, being the play on words for House Dragonmaid for this form as her dragon form. And then lastly, for the monsters in the deck, I also run 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. It's just the hand trap of choice for shutting down your opponent's plays. If you want to run Ash Blossom and focus more on just the dragons in the deck, you can always increase your Dragonmaid dragon forms in numbers. You can increase the number of Lorpar and Tinkek, and also the number of New Jarl to 2, and then take out the Ash Blossom hand trap. And this is just if a person doesn't want to play the hand trap option. Or even if you don't want to run Ash Blossom, you can always try putting in Effect Veiler as another option for this monster lineup. But that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. One of the best spells in the deck is Dragonmaid Hospitality. You special summon one Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then you can send one Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck to the graveyard. You can only activate one Hospitality per turn, but this is the setup right here. If you can set up the dragon monster in the graveyard and special summon the Dragonmaid, not only will you get the search or the send additionally off of the Dragonmaid you may send, but you'll have that other dragon in the graveyard ready to go for the special summon at the start of the battle phase. So this is a definite 3-of just for that overall power that this card provides in the deck. And like I said, it's the main play in the deck, and it just basically does it for you with one spell. For some of the 1-ofs in the deck, I run one Dragonmaid Changeover. This is the fusion card. You fusion summon one Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. While this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Dragonmaid monster you control, add this card to your hand. If you do, return that monster to the hand. So basically, you only need the one, because once you have this card set up, you can just recycle it from the graveyard. And it's easy to search this card out because you can easily search it with your Chamber Dragonmaid, being able to add any Dragonmaid spell or traps from your deck to your hand. So you really only need the one for that recycle power, because then you always just have the spell in your graveyard to add back to your hand. I also run one Dragonmaid Welcome for more power ups for the Dragonmaids monsters you control. If you control 2 or more Dragonmaid monsters, you can target one Dragonmaid card in your graveyard except for Dragonmaid Welcome and add to your hand. And you can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot target Dragonmaid monsters you control with card effects this turn. So more of a protection play, but more for the power up and the setup of your different Dragonmaid monsters. And also one Dragonmaid Send Off. You target a Dragonmaid monster you control and special summon one Dragonmaid monster with a different name from your hand in defense position and return that targeted monster to the hand. So it's basically just shuffling through all the other different Dragonmaid monsters using this quick play spell. You can easily just set this card on the field as well, activate it, and then if you have, let's say, Kitchen on the field, being able to bounce it and then summon out your Chamber Dragonmaid gives you that additional search, and then ready to reuse Kitchen during the next turn. For some more of the staple spells in the deck, I also run 3 World Legacy Guard Dragon. This special summon of a level 4 lower dragon monster from the graveyard will just give you the more resources of all the different human form Dragonmaid monsters we run, being the fact that they benefit from the special summon also. So 3 of this I would say is definitely staple. The deck is pretty pricey as it is anyway. I know World Legacy Guard Dragon is up there as well, but it's just one of the better special summon cards. If you don't have this card, but you have the rest of the Dragonmaid deck, you can try other cards like Call the Haunted and the Trap lineup for special summon summoning, but I definitely do recommend this card as just something you can easily run to activate and special summon a card back onto the field. For some of the one-ofs, I run 1 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish Burial. This is for setting up the other dragons in the graveyard. Even if you were just to send one of the human dragon forms, you can summon Nurse and then special summon them back onto the field to use, which makes Nurse very good for those graveyard plays. Or most of the time, I just like to send their dragon forms for the special summon setup from the graveyard if I were to set up Chamber or Kitchen on the field. I also run 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Back row can definitely kill the special summon, so being able to clear that out with this card is a big plus. 1 Monster Reborn, special summoning resources just like World Legacy Guard Dragon, but we're not limited to what we special summon with this card. And lastly, 1 Call by the Grave for shutting down our opponent's plays in the graveyard. Always needed, especially just as that one of still on the ban list, so great to rely on it. And that is it for the spells. Moving on now to the traps. I run 3 Dragonmaid Tidying, another new card from the Rise of the Duelist set. So with this card, you target 1 dragon monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, and then return them to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but return it to the hand during the end phase. You can only use this effect of Dragonmaid Tidying once per turn and only once that turn. So with this, you have more and more options for just taking away your opponent's resources, but in the same time, setting up your own. It's a great trap to rely on just as that set. If your opponent tries to destroy this card, you can just activate this card in response and then take care of the card in your opponent's graveyard, return them to the hand, and giving it that option for you to summon out another Dragonmaid for that play afterwards for the setup. And then the graveyard play is just an added bonus. That's why I like running 3 of it in the deck. With the last of the traps being just the 1 Dragonmaid Downtime, a continuous trap. You can target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control, then activate one of these effects, return it to the hand, and if you do, add 1 Dragonmaid card from your deck to your hand, except for Dragonmaid Downtime, or return it into the hand. If you do, return 1 spell trap your opponent controls to the hand. So this could definitely come in handy if your opponent just worked to set up a continuous spell trap on the field, and it's just basically messing up your plays. And this card's also searchable with Chamber Dragonmaid, so that's why you only really need the 1 in your deck, because once you set it up, it's really all you'll need is the continuous spell on the field, and then just something extra difficult that your opponent could potentially get rid of. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 2 House Dragonmaid, with this being the main fusion monster to go into. With it, you need 1 Dragonmaid monster and 1 Dragon monster. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target 1 other Dragonmaid monster you control and special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense, whose level is 8. It's basically 1 higher than lower than it is. When having that option, it basically means you can get out different Dragonmaid monsters on the field. And when another face-up Dragon monster you control is returned to your hand, except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. The destruction power definitely does come in handy. We didn't have much of that in the main deck to go off of, but being able to rely on House Dragonmaid for this not only gives us more dragons on the field to set up, but that destruction power and the 3000 attack is definitely something to be quite scared of for just how easy it is to fusion summon in this deck, just being able to rely on Chamber Dragonmaid for that search. I also run 2 Dragonmaid Yugioh, being the play on word for house, like I said earlier. Need a Dragonmaid monster and 1 level 5 or higher dragon monster. When all the other dragon options we have in the deck, it can easily be met for the fusion requirements. And during each standby phase, you can special summon 1 level 9 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. And when your opponent activates 1 card or effect, except you can negate that effect if you do destroy that card. And also return this card to the extra deck if you do special summon 1 House Dragonmaid from your extra deck. So not only can this card take care of that, but being able to then special summon another one of our scary extra deck resources, I honestly considered bumping the numbers of House and Yugioh to 3, just to have all these resources available with the fusion spell card. But if you want to do that, I'll show what cards you can take out of the extra deck for that. As for some of the other generic cards, I ran mostly Link lineup. I don't go into them often as the fusions and then just relying on the actual Dragonmaid support, but I run 1 Salmon Great Almirage for the fact that the majority of our normal summons, they have low attack, and just needing 1 normal summon monster with 1000 less attack to make this card can set up more dragons in our graveyard. Same with 1 Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres for the bounce power and just needing 2 dragon monsters to make it. 1 Akashic Magician, 1 Barricade Board Blocker for recycling of the continuous spell in the deck. I only run the 1 of, so being able to do that with this can come in handy. 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Borreload Dragon, and then the 1 Boral Sword Dragon. Having different options for the dragons in the deck. I know they don't focus much because the fusions require, for the Dragonmaid Yugioh, a level 5 or higher, but still great options to rely on for some extra deck resources to attack into your opponent. And then as for the go-to plays, Chamber Dragonmaid is a big one for sure, for just that search power, being able to add a Dragonmaid spell trap from your deck to your hand. So if you initially add this search, you can search out the fusion play, and if you have one of the higher level dragons in your hand altogether, you can just go for the fusion of your Dragonmaid Yugioh right from those two monsters onto the field. Or if you don't have that resource, you can always just rely on opening up the Dragonmaid Hospitality to special summon a Dragonmaid from your hand or graveyard in defense position, summoning out the Chamber Dragonmaid, getting that initial search for the spell we spoke of again, but still having the normal summon option. You can have these two cards in the graveyard ready to go for the fusion play, and then when you summon out your Nurse Dragonmaid as the normal summon, just getting another monster back onto the field. You've already used the effect of Chamber this turn, but having the two monsters needed to then go into an extra deck play for, let's say, your Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, and still having your Dragonmaid Yugioh summoned out with the help of the fusion spell. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. This is definitely a deck I'm happy to have once again. Not sure if I'm going to be parting with it anytime soon, because like I said, I've been wanting to play it for a good while now. But that is it for the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.